Hello, everyone. Matt Bills here, and welcome back to my channel. Before I dive into today's topic, I just want to first say thank you for 500 subscribers. I know I'm at the very beginning of sharing all that I've learned as a professional photographer, so thank you to those who decided to join me early. I do appreciate it, and yeah, on to today's video. I asked for a few questions or topics over on my Instagram, and I received several, so thank you for that. One of those questions was, how do you feel about stock photography, and do you think it's still worth it in 2025? Well, the short answer, I think stock photography is awesome, and yes, I do think it is worth it. Now, for the much longer answer, I have been making a number of my photos and videos available for licensing across all of the big stock websites for several years. In fact, I currently have thousands of photos for sale, and to date, I've sold over 10,000 licenses. But before we dive into too many details, I realize that some of viewers may not be familiar with stock photography. So, what is stock photography? Well, stock photography is essentially shooting photos covering a wide range of subjects that are then made available for anyone to license for a wide range of uses. So, if I'm a person or business that is producing some sort of product or content that requires a photo that's relevant to whatever that thing is that I'm working on, but I don't have a photographer, licensing a stock photo is a great option. From a real estate agent working to products, travel destinations, animals, almost anything can be a stock photo. Now, there's a few key things to keep in mind. First, selling stock photos is definitely not for the faint of heart. No matter what anyone says, it's not a get rich quick scheme. And the reality is, it's really the definition of playing the long game. The stock photo market in the early 2000s versus 2025 are completely different worlds, mainly due to the sheer volume of photos that are uploaded each day across the world. The market is insanely saturated, and you really have to make an effort to stand out. When I started selling stock photos around 6 years ago, I didn't have any expectations. I just thought, hey, if it makes a few extra bucks here and there, why not? I'm going to probably invest it back into my business anyway, so let's just give it a shot. I mean, once the photos are published online for sale, you don't have to do anything else with them. I quickly learned that to generate sales on a regular basis, you really need to not just have quality assets for sale, but you need to have a lot of them. You are one photographer in a pool of hundreds of thousands who upload daily. So the more photos you can make available, the better your chances of standing out. So if you're just starting and you have 20 photos uploaded, don't get discouraged by a lack of sales. Keep building your portfolio. Next thing to keep in mind, you rarely set the price for your photos when using the major stock photo platforms. The royalty percentage may increase over time based on your number of sales, but the initial price the photo sells for is usually determined at least in part by the stock agency. That is all done automatically and is usually based on the type of license someone is buying. I'll be honest, this is where the waters get a little murky. It's not uncommon for my royalty on one photo to be 25 cents and then $100 for the exact same photo a few weeks later. And it's my understanding that this is usually driven by the type of license that is purchased, or in other words, how the purchaser intends to utilize the image. For example, are they using the photo to accompany an article that they're writing for a local news station, or is the photo going to be used in a major publication that will be in print and distributed tens of thousands of times? This actually just happened a few days ago. I'm going to put on the screen an editorial photo I took of National Guard troops patrolling the streets of Washington, D.C. back in January of 2021 ahead of the Biden-Harris inauguration. It has sold several times for a few dollars, and then all of a sudden last week I received a royalty payment for $277. But this is where having a large portfolio comes in handy. Uh, believe it or not, daily royalties ranging from a few cents to a few dollars to even a few $100s, spread across multiple stock sites and thousands of images. Well, that can actually add up pretty quickly. For example, I didn't really pay attention to my earnings for a few months, and when I logged in, I had $1,000 across two sites just sitting there. I didn't do anything other than upload those photos, and some of those photos are 6, 7 years old. Now, is it always like that? No, but it was great, and I actually put it towards yet another lens for the collection. That's the cool thing. There are some people who have portfolios that are 20 times the size of mine and who probably make a living purely on stock photos, which is awesome. For me, it's the smallest of my photo related income streams. But the fact that I can just set it and forget it and make a few extra bucks as a result, I think it's pretty great. And, I'm a big fan of having multiple income streams. And between my wife and I, we have 5 to 7 income streams at any one time. But that's a massive topic for a totally different video. But so the next thing to remember, stock agencies won't just blindly accept any photo that you submit for sale. They want to keep their portfolio of millions of images at a certain level of quality and relevance because they have clients who are paying them to do so. I've personally had hundreds of photos rejected over the years. It's just part of the game, but you eventually recognize the types of images that will make it through the quality assurance process and those that won't. This is also where paying attention to the stock agency's calls for certain content come in handy. Most agencies will regularly post information about the types of content that are currently in demand, based on everything that they're seeing on their end. So that's super helpful information, and you should take full advantage of it. I mean, it's right there, so you should use it. Now, one of the most enjoyable parts of stock photography, I think, maybe even sometimes better than seeing the actual sales, is finding out where your photos are being used. You don't really have control over that part of it, but it's still cool, especially when they get used by a recognizable brand. That's actually helped my photography business, especially when pitching a project to a new client. I can actually make reference to a household name that has used my work. And right or wrong, it brings a level of legitimacy to your work, at least in the eyes of some potential clients. For example, my photos have been used by Home Depot, Canva, Business Insider, Newsweek, The Atlantic, Forbes, Kayak, Bankrate, tons of local and national news agencies, and really the list goes on and on. And as a side note, you generally don't get notified when your photo is actually used. You get notified when it's purchased, but you don't get notified when it's used. So reverse Google imaging your photos to see where they landed is usually the best way to find out. But if you know a better way of finding out where your images are used, please add it in the comments. I would love to hear it. So you might be saying to yourself at this point in the video, got it. Thanks for the info, Matt. Now tell me what photos sell the best so that I can do something similar. Well, looking back to 2018, here are some of my top selling photos in no particular order. I took this photo with my drone in Maui, and as you can imagine, it is often used by travel sites or anything related to Hawaii or just beaches in general. This one has been licensed over 300 times. The next is actually a photo I took of my kitchen. We remodeled pretty much our entire house a few years ago, and the custom kitchen turned out pretty incredible. And considering part of what I do is real estate photography, I figured I'd shoot a few photos of the finished product. This one and a few other angles of the kitchen have been licensed hundreds of times. This next one is a house I photographed probably 3 years ago, and it's actually been licensed over 2,000 times, which I think makes it my best selling image, but I'd have to confirm. But I love the vibrant colors, and I'm sure that has something to do with it because it really jumps off the screen, especially if someone's just scrolling on their phone. Here's another drone photo that has sold really well. That is downtown Omaha. And, I took this one several summers ago. This one and a few others from different angles have together sold over 600 times easily. Then we have several others that have been licensed, 9, 10, 20, 30 times. But like I said earlier, they really, really do add up over time. So yeah, that's just a few quick examples, but you really have to figure out what works best for you and what your approach will be should you choose to jump into the world of stock photography. But no matter what, patience is key, and remember to have fun, because if you're not having fun, what's the point? All right, that's all I have for you today. I hope you found this video helpful. If you did, I'd love to hear from you in the comments. Ask any questions that you might have. Hit the thumbs up, and subscribing to my channel would be cool. It's free. Come on, do it. Have a great day, everyone. Thanks.